Jin BTS speaks up about Jungkook's new contract. I'm proud, but also thinking critically, do all BTS members truly support the biggest business decision in K-pop history, or are there other voices behind the scenes? For the first time since the announcement of the biggest contract ever signed by a K-pop artist, Jin, the oldest member of BTS who is currently completing his mandatory military service, has issued an official statement. In a limited interview session released by an internal agency source, Jin expressed his response to the monumental step taken by Jungkook and HYBE. This statement is not merely emotional support from a Hyung to his younger brother, but also contains deep reflection that illustrates BTS's internal dynamics amid the ongoing transformation of the industry. Jin began his comment with a statement that surprised many. I'm proud of Jungkook, but I also want the public not to quickly believe everything that looks grand on the surface. This statement immediately sparked a wave of reactions on social media. Many believe that Jin offered a different perspective that had not yet emerged in the previous news euphoria. He did not doubt Jungkook's personal achievements but rather invited the public to understand that a big contract is not the only indicator of success or a group's future direction. This statement is also seen as an honest form of a senior not afraid to speak openly about the industry's reality. Jin added that he hopes such major decisions will still consider the group's balance and BTS's collective direction as a cultural entity. The contract is big, yes, but even bigger is the moral and cultural responsibility we must bear together, he said. Jin's statement opened a new chapter of discussion among observers and fans. On one hand, the public appreciated Jin's candid and mature attitude. On the other hand, critical questions arose. Does such an exclusive contract create a gap among BTS members? Is this the beginning of permanent individualization within BTS? HYBE itself has not provided a direct response to Jin's statement. However, from an industry perspective, this comment is very important as it shows that not all narratives in the K-pop world are shaped only by agencies or media, but also by internal voices brave enough to reveal another side of the success dynamic. Some analysts say that Jin's comment functions as a kind of cultural alarm. In an era where individual achievements are often associated with financial value and media visibility, Jin reminds us that BTS was built on cooperation, solidarity, and shared vision. He did not call the contract a mistake, but encouraged the public to see the bigger picture. Jungkook is my younger brother, and I believe he deserves it. But I also believe the public needs to view this with a cool head and an open heart, he said. That Jin's reflective attitude received praise from many industry figures. He is seen as a balancing voice amid the swirl of popularity and extraordinary numbers. The comment was even reprinted by several Asian news portals as one of the most honest statements from a third-generation idol in the past decade. However, fan responses were not entirely uniform. Some ARMY saw Jin's comment as a form of protection for Jungkook and BTS as a whole, but others began to question whether HYBE is starting to lose direction in upholding BTS's collective values. Does this major contract mark a new era of BTS as a more individualistic entity, or does it strengthen their foundation as a cultural icon broader than just a music group? It is undeniable that the entertainment world today is very dynamic. Every major decision, especially those related to contract value and artist position in the agency, will definitely have long-term implications. In this case, Jin shows that an idol's job is not only to entertain but also to bear responsibility as part of a broader social and cultural system. Jin closed his statement with a sentence that is now viral among ARMY. We are not just artists, we are also humans who think, feel, and are responsible. I'm proud of Jungkook, but prouder if we can all learn from this process. This statement is moving and sparks wider discussion. Is such a business decision truly aimed at supporting the artist's growth, or are there other agendas behind the scenes? To what extent does a contract determine a group's career direction and collective integrity? And most importantly, is the public willing to open space to think more critically about the big narratives shaped by the modern entertainment industry? It is important to note that the information related to Jin's statement comes from various open sources circulating in fan communities, closed interviews, and unofficial transcripts from social media discussion forums. The accuracy of the content still needs to be thoroughly verified. Therefore, we urge readers not to immediately believe every quote or information circulating in the digital space without first questioning the credibility and intent behind it. With Jin's voice emerging, discussions about BTS's future and Jungkook's position in the new K-pop industry landscape are becoming more complex. However, this complexity is not negative. In fact, this is where BTS's strength lies. Not only commercially successful, but also possessing intellectual depth and emotional maturity, rarely seen in the entertainment world. Oh, you agree with Jin's views? Or do you see this as part of the natural dynamic between individuality and collectivity? Whatever the answer, one thing is certain. Amid praise and controversy, Jin's voice is an important reminder that BTS's strength lies not only in numbers, but in their integrity and balance as humans and artists. But now a fundamental question arises. Is all the news about Jungkook's phenomenal contract factually valid, or is it merely a hyperbolic narrative shaped by social media and certain marketing strategies? Because in today's digital era, the line between truth and perception often becomes blurred. Information sources scattered across TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and fan community forums are not all academically or journalistically verifiable. Thus, we must ask, has the public become a victim of a media ecosystem that increasingly prioritizes virality over accuracy? Reflective attitudes like that shown by Jin BTS should serve as a real example of how a public figure can remind society not to get carried away in fleeting euphoria. His statement is not just concern for a groupmate, but also an implicit criticism of how entertainment news is massively and unfiltered consumed by the global public. Have we, as the public, been skeptical enough in responding to major news that suddenly goes viral? The biggest contract in K-pop history is a very significant claim. But is there any official data or document that truly proves the amount and details of the clauses referred to? In the corporate and entertainment world, transparency is rarely fully granted to the public. So it's natural for the public to question, is this part of HYBE's branding strategy to reinforce their position after BTS's group hiatus? Or is it possibly a tactical step to prepare the industry's direction post-third-generation idol dominance? For loyal fans, such statements may feel offensive or uncomfortable, but it is precisely in discomfort that space for open thinking can grow. Do we really know what happens behind the scenes of South Korea's entertainment industry? Or are we just consuming images and narratives curated by agencies and media? Criticism of overly perfect narratives is not a form of hatred, but an effort to restore public awareness that all information must be examined, tested, and confirmed. When a senior member like Jin provides a response that is not merely praising or promoting, but instead delivers reflection and an invitation to think, that is a clear signal that we are at a crossroads between reality and perception. Will we choose to believe blindly or question with common sense? Furthermore, it must be remembered that in the entertainment world, it is not uncommon for major news to be deliberately designed to create a public shock effect. The term media play or narrative management through mass communication channels has long been a common practice, especially in the K-pop industry. So, is it possible that news about Jungkook's contract is just part of a broader campaign to restore BTS's dominance amid changing agency competition? The public also needs to consider another important aspect. Why has no official statement been openly issued by HYBE regarding the contract details? And why do many of the initial pieces of information come from short clips, comment excerpts, or content creator speculations on social media? Isn't this an indication that this news needs to be viewed more cautiously? We do not intend to belittle Jungkook's achievements or doubt the potential validity of the contract agreement. However, we emphasize the importance of caution in responding to sensational news. In this post-truth era, truth often drowns in a sea of opinion, perception, and algorithm manipulation. Thus, the digital community must have sufficient media literacy to sort, weigh, and analyze all information they receive, especially from platforms without professional journalism verification mechanisms. Do you as a reader feel that this news is realistic or too perfect to be true? Is Jin's comment a sincere concern, or a signal that there may be imbalance within the group's internal structure? Are we as fans mature enough to distinguish between facts and sensations? It is important to stress that the information in this article was obtained from various open sources scattered on social media and online communities. Although some statements come from interview transcripts or direct artist comments, not all data can be independently verified by credible journalistic institutions. Thank you for watching.